We have some great news this month for the indigenous Coca Pueblos of Jalisco. Just this month, the Mexican government finally recognized a Coca Pueblo. Mezcala de la Asunción in Jalisco was added to the National Catalog of Pueblos and Communities of Indigenous and Afro-Mexican Descent. This makes Mezcala de la Asunción officially recognized by the Mexican federal government as an indigenous Coca Pueblo. And so far, it is the only Coca Pueblo mentioned in this registry. Of course, that does not mean that it is the only Coca Pueblo. It's the only Coca Pueblo that is officially recognized. So what this does mean is that this does open the door for other indigenous communities in the Jalisco region that do identify as Coca to also be added to this list. Unfortunately, the other surrounding pueblos do not officially have that recognition. But again, this opens the door to them for recognition. So why is federal recognition as an indigenous community important in places like Mezcala de la Asunción, Jalisco? An interesting facet of the indigenous communities of Jalisco is that you have some communities like Mezcala that are recognized as native and are also given protections as native communities, and one of them being, for example, to not sell their land to outsiders. The land must be sold within the community. It cannot be sold to multinational corporations, people who were not born from this community. In that sense, they have their lands protected. This is a privilege that the Coca Pueblos in Mezcala de la Asunción have been able to take advantage of since colonial time. In recent years, there have been attempts by outsiders to buy up land and expropriate it from the indigenous Coca Pueblos. And thankfully, the Coca Pueblos in Mezcala, they organized against this attempt and they won. Now with what's gonna happen to that property, they're gonna start using this area to build a university, which I will talk about in the future in a separate video. Without this recognition as an indigenous community, this leaves them vulnerable to attacks from outsiders who are trying to take away this land that is protected under primordial title. For many years, the Coca Pueblos have been fighting for the right to remain as an autonomous community without interference from the outside municipal government of Poncitlan or the Mexican state of Jalisco. But again, there have been attempts to push back on that autonomy. This is also a big win for the people of Mezcala, who have been fighting for this recognition as a Coca Pueblo for many years. Although the Mexican government and the state of Jalisco have sort of vaguely recognized their right as native peoples, they've never identified them specifically as a Coca Pueblo. The Coca people in Mezcala continue to practice their traditions. There is an image of the Danza de los Huehuenches. So another question is, what does this recognition mean for the indigenous communities that are still not recognized in places like Jalisco? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you have family or you know of people who are from the Coca region who are also fighting for that right to be recognized, comment about it below. Thank you. Oh yes, a special shout out and thank you to Rocio Moreno for informing me about this win. Yes, congratulations.